I am very pleased to introduce Governor Newsom's appointee, Samuel Assefa, the Director of California, the Governor's Office of Land Use and Climate Innovation. He's also a member of the California Jobs First Council, and there's a lot of amazing things happening, especially at LCI. Mr. Assefa is a longtime supporter of MBEP, and he's been, I think, at another state of the region, so some of you might remember him. He is our closing keynote, and I'm really pleased and very honored that he would be able to join us, and from there, we'll pivot off to a reception with our mayor from the great city of Salinas in a short bit. So again, thank you for being with us, and I turn it over to Mr. Assefa.
I'm sorry to be the last person getting in the way of the reception. Thank you, Tara, and thank you, MBEP, for inviting me to join you here once again. I was here 2 years ago. How much the world has changed since then in the last 2 years. Not just about funding challenges from the federal government, but the cultural chasms and divisions and all of that. What is really remarkable from where I sit and the state that I am in, it is because of organizations like MBEP that California, regardless of what happens and changes at the federal level, California stays the course. And it's been throughout its history. And it's a lot of the work like organizations like yours, Tara, do in California that keeps our values consistent no matter what the political winds are federally. And that's why I appreciate our partnership. So, and say thank you for the work that you do in California. So on behalf of the Governor's Office of Land Use and Climate Innovation, as well as the California Strategic Growth Council, which I chair, I want to recognize our regional partners whose daily work makes community resilience real. Counties of the places I would mention, Monterey, Santa Cruz, and San Benito, along with the Association of Monterey Bay Area Governments, CSU Monterey Bay, and the Monterey Bay Economic Partnership. Those are the kinds of partnerships throughout the state that are models for connective tissues that bring people together. I heard the word care when you were talking about childcare. Well, this is about care about communities, and despite geographic differences, that is the kind of care I think we continue to need to have to make California continue to thrive. So you make up that connective tissue that makes responsible and strategic economic growth possible as well. Please know that we at LCI, you have an ally at the state level, and our office, where my staff teams prioritize working collaboratively with local partners like you to understand specific needs, questions about resilient and sustainable futures, and generate capacity to advance our collective goals. Just what LCI, formerly OPR, I just want to go through what our partnership looks like and what LCI is. Most of you know the Office of Planning and Research. So my office was created exactly 55 years ago this month by then Governor Ronald Reagan soon after he signed the most stringent environmental law and the most consequential environmental law for California, CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act, created this office within the governor's office to not only administer CEQA, but to knit together land use planning, climate resilience, housing, infrastructure, and economic development. Our mandate is simple: help communities build smarter and more equitably, and make sure public dollars are multipliers for private investment and good jobs. LCI is focused on built environment and community programs with a clear mandate to accelerate innovation and implementation that supports thriving and equitable communities. Just as some examples, our extreme heat and community resilience program specifically directs funding and technical support to communities that are most heat burdened, with projects like creating shades, increasing cool water stations, and implementing passive cooling strategies. Earlier this week, my office announced the launch of a new tool called the Vulnerable Communities Platform, which we developed to help local leaders like yourselves see where extreme heat, flooding, fire, rising level of sea level rise, wildfire, drought, intersect with social vulnerability. So capital goes where risk and need are highest. This is the first platform I think we have in the state that really connects the dots between vulnerable communities and science of climate. The VCP is an interactive web-based tool that helps Californians and institutions specifically understand which worsening climate hazards are most likely to affect their communities and how to prepare and adapt. Within our research portfolio, we are coordinating the state's fifth climate change assessment, which is due to roll out next year. It will feature a significant amount of information that local communities and jurisdictions need and can use. A report about the Central Coast to help us understand this region's climate future, and locally relevant adaptation pathways to bolster communities against challenging climate impacts. A report on climate impacts to the economy will also complement the science research to understand, along with the rest of the resources, how we guide and make decisions around each of our regions based on data and science that impacts our economic decisions. Our office also administers grant funding and technical assistance to local jurisdictions to generate stronger project ideas and applications. Some of those programs include LCI's Integrated Climate Adaptation and Resiliency Program, or ICARP. I mentioned the Extreme Heat and Community Resilience Program. And then California Strategic Growth Council's Transformative Climate Communities, known as TCC, Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Program, or AHSC, among a number of other grant programs. All of these pair dollars with on-the-ground support, community engagement, and workforce pathways. Your region is no stranger to our work and partnership either. So I'll name some of those incredible partnerships that we've had over the years. The Monterey Bay Adaptation and Resilience Implementation and Funding Roadmap project is supported by ICARP's Regional Resiliency Grants, with an investment of $649,000. It's helping more than 50 partners from across the region come together to identify urgent climate risks, reflect on community needs, and develop plans that prioritize vulnerable communities in the face of climate change. Last year, the city of Santa Cruz secured $33.5 million from the AHSC program for the Downtown Library Affordable Housing Project, linking new affordable homes with sustainable transportation and more connected, low-carbon downtown. In Ventura County, LCI's Extreme Heat Program awarded $750,000 to create a community-driven extreme heat action plan, including adaptation policies and education campaigns for workers and health professionals. In the Pajaro Valley, which we just heard, a TCC planning grant supports a community-driven plan co-designed with farm worker families to identify greenhouse gas reduction projects, affordable housing strategies, active transportation, environmental health improvements, among others. The county's Climate Prosperity for Pajaro Valley grant is a model of equity-first planning that unlocks future investments. And through SGC's Sustainable Agricultural Lands Conservation Program, the state has funded working lands conservation in Monterey County, including millions of dollars to partners like the Ag Land Trust, preserving hundreds of acres of Salina Valley's farmland. And as Tara just mentioned, I serve on the Jobs First Council, a program that was incubated at LCI, then OPR. And I was actually very excited. I was leading a delegation to the Netherlands, which my office partners with, around advanced air mobility. And we're excited to announce the $7.5 million for this region to advance that innovation around air mobility for the region. And last but not least, we focus on permitting and delivery improvements, removing bottlenecks, and aligning state infrastructure investments with local land use decisions. All of these efforts take a holistic approach, considering long-term impacts and balancing smart housing, transit, and conservation of green spaces. They are early chapters in a target. These are early chapters in a larger regional narrative for housing near transit, safer streets, community-powered climate planning, and working landscapes that stay working. As you can likely tell, all of these efforts support Governor Newsom's economic blueprint: grow a clean, resilient economy, lower costs for families, create middle-wage jobs, and strengthen local tax bases, especially in communities historically left behind. How inspiring that so much of this work is happening right here in your region. We are truly partnering to build a California for all. That's our charge at LCI, and for me, it is a key reason we maintain our state status as the fourth largest economy in the world. Our success must stay science to action, community informed, and equity centered. One that elevates ideas and voices from across our diverse state, not just in people, but in sectors and solutions. California's multilingual, multicultural workforce is a competitive advantage. Look at this region alone in terms of its diversity. Farm workers, hospitality workers, scientists in our great institutions here, engineers, small business owners, tribal partners across all of Central Coast. When we design around that diversity, we actually, with childcare that works for shift workers, transit to rural jobs, bilingual outreach that ensures access, we expand the talent pipeline and unlock productivity. Diversity is not a narrative, it's an operating strategy. And California is betting on regions like Monterey Bay on your capacity to think as a system and design for people and place. LCI is happy to continue to be your partner in that. We can do that kind of partnership by sharing climate knowledge, working through technical assistance programs, and partnering through funding opportunities to achieve our collective goals for creating more just and resilient communities, more just and resilient communities. And resilience is not just a project checklist, it is a promise. Promise that families stay safe in the next storm, that elders breathe clean air on extreme heat days, that farm workers get to work and to go to work and home on low-cost transit, that small businesses keep the lights on, and that students see a career here, not somewhere else. And Monterey Bay is already showing California what this looks like. Santa Cruz AHSC Award, infill housing with mobility choices. Pajaro's TCC planning, farm workers' voices in climate solutions. SALC, the Sustainable Agricultural Land Conservation Grant, near Salinas, it's climate-smart growth and agricultural strength. So in those kinds of partnerships together, we can turn good ideas into funded, science-informed, and equity-centered projects that create access to opportunity, make families safer, clean our air, and protect our farms, and better connect our neighborhoods. But let's not stop there. Let's commit to celebrating what works and replicate it. When something succeeds in Seaside, let's make sure Watsonville has the playbook. If Pajaro develops a better way to recover from floods, let's turn it into a standard across the Central Coast. That's the kind of collaboration we need more of. And that kind of care for each other is what will carry us forward. As I started my talk, I think this matters now more than ever. What I mean about caring for not only a regional level, but across cultures and across political divides. In a national political climate where division is being deliberately stirred, where people are targeted simply for how they look, who they love, or how they worship, I think our region can lead and continue to lead differently. And that's what I meant by how grateful I am to be not only in the state, but to partner with groups like MBEP. We can lead with unity, compassion, and shared purposes. And that is actually, because of that, we are thriving compared to other places. And when I mean by that, we need that more than ever, I mean it extends to individual levels. And if you indulge me, I'll just tell you a brief story from 2 years ago when I was on my way here from Sacramento that kind of contextualizes what I'm saying here. About 30 minutes before here, I had to stop because I was back-to-back meetings and I forgot to stop. And I needed to, when you have to go, you gotta go. So I was getting here and there was nothing. There was nowhere to get off the road. So I saw a dirt road and I just followed that, got off the highway, and there was a wooded farm, absolutely nothing as far as you can see. When I'm done, I'm in my car sitting, putting the GPS again where I'm going, and the music is playing, and there's not a human anything across. And then suddenly I hear a little noise on my car, and I looked right in the window. Is this guy, dark shades, leather jacket, helmets, motorcycle, a Harley. I did not even hear the motorcycle. Well, my head, in the context 2 years ago, all the tensions and divisions were going on. And what am I thinking? Here I am by myself as a black person sitting in the car, and there's this guy in my head is going, bail, quickly. And he had his face right on the window, and I pulled it down. I said, can I help you? And he said, oh, this is my territory. Can I help you? I said, oh, no, I'm fine. I'm just punching in my address where I'm going. The next thing he said just shocked me initially. He said, don't you carry the green book when you're traveling throughout the state? It took me a second to get it because I did not grow up in this country. And once I knew what he was saying, and some of you, I'm pretty sure you know the green book, and I went now I should bail. I should just really get my car started. And I'm like, my head is going all over the place. And then he smiled, like a little grin. I'm just kidding. And that's what I felt too. He goes, I'm not racist. He said, this is not about race for me. He said, this is about economy. It's all about economy. And he said, I used to, I did well when I was young and in my middle age, and I lived in Monterey Bay. Once my economic condition went south, no one cared. So I moved here, and he said, my girlfriend and I bought a waterfront real estate, just down the street. And I'm looking where he's pointing, and there's absolutely nothing there, just a river and farmland. And you don't see a house as far as you can see. And I said, are there houses here? And he said, oh, we actually purchased our own riverfront. And I think people like you sometimes should come and see how white trash live in this country. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, someday if you want, you can come and see how my girlfriend and I live. And I started thinking, he's framing it from an economic perspective. I said, actually, I have time. I want to see it. He was surprised. He said, really? I said, yes. So he goes, follow me. So he goes down on a motorcycle, this dirt road. It's barely it's not even a road. So I followed him. And then halfway, my head is thinking, I better call my wife and let her know where I am. And then I thought, oh, maybe not. She'll just flip. And we kept going, and it's almost like quarter mile. And now I'm thinking, wow, I'm now in the middle of nowhere. So finally, he found like an embankment, went over it, and I barely made my car over and got to where his waterfront house is. A little shack right by the waterfront. There are about 20 dogs running around. I got out, and his girlfriend sitting by a fire, I think she was eating or something, and he said, hey, meet my new buddy, Angela. That was her name. We went in, and he started talking about, their condition. She's undocumented, immigrant from Mexico, but they met, I don't know, some time ago. He sat down and recited Dylan Thomas poems, a couple of them, and I'm just going, wow, this is amazing. And he started thinking about where I am from, because he sensed an accent, and I told him I was originally from Ethiopia. And he was just completely in a different place. I have never met anybody from Ethiopia. And he says, please come visit us. He gives me a hug. He said, let's take selfies, exchanged phone numbers. And then that day when I got here, and after I left here, he texted me this. He said, Sam the man, you're forever in my soul. I won't forget. I won't forget you, my friend. Don't ever forget this place. It's special. I met you here. Bye for now. May God bless you as He has me. Humble is a nice place to be. So my bias initially when I looked at him because of his motorcycle and jacket is, of course, I need to bail. Just that connection and just trust completely turned it around. On the way here, I texted him, we're trying to meet tomorrow so I can go visit Angela and Brian. So that's what I think that contextualizes. The times that we are in now demands that we double down on those issues and get across, divides, regions, and connect and care for our work and our goals to be successful, whether it's economic development, housing, transit. It is at the end of the day about people. So in closing, I think California will remain the fourth largest economy as long as we keep choosing diversity, innovation, and regional leadership such as MBEP. Here on the Central Coast, of course, MBEP and your partners are building exactly the portfolio California needs: world-class agriculture and hospitality, rising clean manufacturing, and community-rooted systems for housing, childcare, and climate resilience. So thank you for your leadership, and for proving once again that when California plans together, we build together, and because of that, we also thrive together. Thank you. Thanks, Deb.